97% of men over 50 walk away from conversations thinking they just had a pleasant chat, while the woman walks away wondering why he didn't pick up on her signals. It's not because these men are clueless or out of practice. It's because the game has evolved, and nobody told them the new rules. She's not going to flip her hair and bat her eyelashes like she did at 25. She's not going to giggle at your jokes or find excuses to touch your shoulder. Those teenage moves died with teenage hormones. What she does instead is far more sophisticated, far more subtle, and if you're not listening with the right ears, you'll miss it completely. After decades of dating disappointments, divorces, and false starts, mature women have learned to test the waters before diving in. They've developed a language of gentle probes, carefully crafted questions, and strategic pauses that reveal everything. If you know how to decode them, I learned this the hard way through my own failures and by watching countless men my age stumble through opportunities that were right in front of them. Today, I'm going to share what I've discovered, the 8 subtle questions that signal genuine interest. Disguised as casual conversation, these aren't pickup lines or games. These are real women with real feelings, taking real risks, hoping you're emotionally intelligent enough to meet them halfway. Picture this. You're at your neighborhood coffee shop on a Saturday morning. Same routine you've had for months. The woman who always sits 2 tables over with her book and latte finally approaches your table. Her name is Elena. You learn that from overhearing the barista, and she's elegant in that effortless way some women master after 50. "Excuse me," she says with a warm smile. "I couldn't help but notice you're reading Hemingway. Are you always drawn to the classics, or do you branch out?" Most men would answer the surface question about books and miss what she's really asking. Tell me who you are. Show me your mind. Give me a reason to sit down and stay a while. This is how it works now. The questions aren't random. They're reconnaissance missions. Emotional intelligence at work. Testing compatibility without the risk of outright rejection. Question 1. How old are you? Really? When Margaret asked David this question at their book club, she wasn't trying to do math. She already knew he was somewhere in his late 50s. The silver temples and laugh lines gave that away. What she was really asking was, are you comfortable with who you've become? David had 2 choices. He could have made a self-deprecating joke, old enough to know better, too old to care, or he could have done what he actually did. Lean back in his chair, smile genuinely, and say, 58, and finally hit my stride. The first answer apologizes for his age. The second celebrates it. Margaret didn't just hear a number. She heard a man who wasn't trying to be anyone else, wasn't chasing his lost youth, wasn't embarrassed about his journey. That confidence was more attractive than any anti-aging cream could ever be. Later, Margaret told me, I've met men who are 45 but feel ancient, and men who are 65 but feel just beginning. Age isn't the number. It's the energy behind how you carry it. Question 2. What's your story with marriage? This isn't nosiness disguised as small talk. When a woman asks about your marriage history, she's really asking 3 things. Are you emotionally available? Have you learned from your past? Is there room in your life for someone new? I watched my friend Robert completely misread this signal at a dinner party. When Sarah, a stunning widow in her early 50s, gently asked about his divorce, Robert launched into a 15-minute monologue about his ex-wife's shortcomings, the custody battles, and how marriage is a scam designed by lawyers and greeting card companies. Sarah listened politely, excused herself for more wine, and spent the rest of the evening talking to other people. She wasn't looking for his relationship resume or his bitter commentary. She was asking, can you hold space for love again? A better response might have been, I had a 20-year marriage that taught me a lot about what I value in partnership. It didn't work out, but I'm grateful for what I learned about myself. These days, I'm more interested in finding someone who wants to build something new rather than fix something old. Direct, honest, forward-looking. That's what she was hoping to hear. Question 3. Do you have a type? When Linda asked this question to James at their community center's art class, he made the classic mistake. He got specific about physical attributes. "I've always been attracted to petite brunettes," he said, not noticing that Linda was a tall, silver-haired blonde. What Linda was really asking was, "Could you see me as more than a friend? Am I the kind of woman who could catch your attention?" James could have said, "I'm drawn to women who are passionate about something: art, books, travel, their grandchildren. Physical attraction matters, but it's the spark in someone's eyes when they talk about what they love that really gets my attention." Suddenly, Linda, who'd been discussing her pottery with genuine enthusiasm for the past hour, would have realized she'd already been showing him exactly what makes her attractive. Question 4. Why are you still single? This question terrifies most men because it sounds like criticism. But when asked with genuine curiosity rather than judgment, it's actually an invitation. Catherine asked this of Thomas during their third coffee meeting, and his instinct was to defend himself. Instead, Thomas paused and said, "I spent my 40s focused on building my business and raising my kids as a single dad. Now that they're grown and the company runs itself, I have the time and energy to share my life with someone special. I guess I needed to become someone worth sharing a life with first." Catherine later told me, "That answer told me everything I needed to know. He wasn't single because he was broken or afraid or carrying too much baggage. He was single by choice, and now he was ready to choose differently." Question 5. Are you always this interesting? When a woman says this, most men deflect with humor or false modesty, but Patricia wasn't joking when she said this to William after he'd spent 20 minutes telling stories about his volunteer work building houses in Central America. She was really saying, "You've surprised me. You're not like the other men I meet. Show me this is who you really are, not just who you are tonight." William's response was perfect. "Only when I'm talking to someone who makes me feel comfortable being myself." Then he asked her about her own passions, her own adventures, her own stories. The conversation shifted from William proving himself to both of them discovering each other. That's where real chemistry begins. Question 6. What do you do for fun these days? This isn't small talk about hobbies. When Rita asked this question to Frank during their neighborhood walking group, she was asking, "Do you still have joy in your life? Are you someone who seeks experiences? Or have you settled into just existing?" Frank could have listed activities: golf on Wednesdays, poker with the guys, Netflix most nights. Instead, he said, "I've been teaching myself Italian because I want to really connect with the culture when I visit Rome next year. I volunteer at the animal shelter because those dogs remind me not to take life too seriously. And I've started cooking again, not just surviving, but actually enjoying the process of creating something delicious." Rita's face lit up. She heard someone who was still growing, still curious, still engaged with life. That's incredibly attractive at any age, but especially after 50 when too many people have mentally retired from living. Question 7. Would you ever consider dating someone like me? This is the most vulnerable question a woman can ask, and it usually comes after she's already invested emotionally in the possibility. When Diane asked this of Michael after several months of friendship, she wasn't fishing for compliments. She was putting her heart on the line. Michael's response was everything. "Diane, I'd be honored if someone like you would consider dating someone like me." He didn't joke. He didn't deflect. He didn't make her feel foolish for asking. He met her vulnerability with his own, and that's where love stories begin. Question 8. What would make you happy right now? This question sounds philosophical, but it's deeply practical. When Joan asked this of Richard during a quiet moment at a wine tasting, she was really asking, what's missing from your life? What are you hoping to find? Could I be part of that picture? Richard thought for a moment and said, honestly, someone to share all this with. I've got a good life, comfortable home, interesting work, and great kids who visit regularly, but I find myself wanting to turn to someone and say, "Did you taste that wine?" Or "Listen to this song." Or "Let's go see what that sunset looks like from the beach." The experiences are good, but sharing them would make them great. Joan smiled and raised her glass. "Well then, let's go see that sunset." The art of nonverbal invitations. Not all signals come in words. After 50, women have mastered the art of nonverbal communication. The way she holds eye contact just a beat longer than necessary. How she positions herself to face you during group conversations. Creating intimacy in public spaces. The gentle touch on your arm when she laughs at your stories. The way she remembers small details from previous conversations and brings them up weeks later. These aren't accidents. They're invitations written in a language that doesn't require words. I remember watching my neighbor George completely miss these signals from Anna. The librarian who'd been subtly indicating interest for months. She would save books she thought he'd enjoy. Remember his coffee preferences when they ran into each other at the cafe, and find excuses to extend their conversations. George interpreted all of this as being nice. It took Anna directly asking him to dinner before he realized she'd been interested all along. "I thought you were just being friendly," he told me later. "I didn't want to make assumptions and risk losing a good friend." The irony, his careful respect for her boundaries was exactly what made him attractive to her in the first place. She'd been waiting for him to notice, not because she wanted him to be more aggressive, but because she wanted confirmation that he was interested too. The real secret. Presence over performance. Here's what I've learned after observing hundreds of these interactions. The men who succeed aren't the smoothest talkers or the most charming. They're the ones who pay attention. They listen not just to words, but to what lies beneath them. They respond to the person, not just the question. After 50, attraction isn't about performance, it's about presence. It's about being fully there in the conversation, genuinely curious about the woman in front of you, comfortable enough with yourself to let her see who you really are. The women asking these questions aren't testing your cleverness or your game. They're looking for authenticity, emotional availability, and the kind of quiet confidence that comes from knowing yourself and liking what you found. Your new beginning? Every conversation is a chance to practice this new awareness. Every coffee shop encounter, every book club discussion, every neighborhood gathering is an opportunity to listen more carefully, respond more thoughtfully, and show up more fully. The woman who's interested in you isn't looking for perfection. She's looking for connection. She's not seeking someone without a past, but someone who's learned from it. She doesn't need you to be younger, but she does need you to be present. Pay attention to the questions. Notice the pauses. Honor the vulnerability it takes for a mature woman to signal interest in a world that often makes her feel invisible. Because here's the truth. You don't become less attractive after 50. You just become attractive in different ways. And the women worth knowing recognize this, celebrate it, and are hoping you recognize it in them too. The conversation is happening all around you. The question is, are you really listening?